Afternoon, everyone. This is Ditha Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 827, joined by a really special guest. His name is Art Steele. He's a former NFL defensive end. He played for the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. He's from Camden, Jersey. He played for Kentucky College. He's a four-time Pro Bowl, over 40 sacks, over 12 fumble recoveries, and he had a great NFL career. I just want to say thank you, Art, for joining the show. It's truly an honor. And how are you and your family doing so far?
Everything's going pretty good. I'm just making sure I can count this as community service hours for my probation officer, huh? No. I always tell people, when I'm going to visit, the first thing I say, hey, I'd like to first to thank my parole officer for allowing me to be out here doing this. And then at the end, people look at you kind of strangely. And then after I say, oh, that's my wife and all, 38 years and all. After 25 years, they're not wives no more. They turn into probation officers or parole officers.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You didn't know that, did you?
No.
Yeah, I gave you some insight, man. Those things that you learn, man, when you got your Medicare card and your AARP, man, you learn all that stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so I want to start off with your childhood growing up, and when did you start realizing that you wanted to play the game of football? And did you have like a role model growing up when you were in the NFL?
Well, the thing is, when I grew up, like I said, in Camden, New Jersey, and then I still wear my shirts. You got the different sections of town. I'm from Centerville and all too, but sports always been around because that's the only thing. We lived in the projects and all too, yeah. And that's the only thing you had was the sports and all. For us, exposure-wise, with music and those types of things. So I had 5 other sisters and 4 other brothers and all. And we all in the neighborhood, we had, within the block and all, man, we used to play very competitive against each other and all, had fun playing on the asphalt, and we go across, play maybe football. And it's supposed to be touch football, but a lot of times it turns out to be tackling on asphalt and all. And then, we had our courts and all that stuff around there. And those were the things that kept us busy. Our punishment, and again, it's just kind of funny, raising your own kids, or we got a couple grandkids we're raising right now. Yeah. Punishment is making them go outside. Back in the day, it can be, man, just you get that bad heat and all, humidity and all. And we out there all day long. And for us, punishment was when, my mother called, get your butt in the house, it's too hot outside. It wasn't too hot. But now it's the complete opposite. You see and that's the way everything started off. And from there, had the opportunity. I didn't play in junior high or any organized football until I started as a freshman in high school. And one of the reasons why my mom wouldn't allow us, she said, we needed insurance just in case something happened to us and all. So that's when we started off. And like I said, I had, brothers. I got 4 other brothers, and I got a couple, man, just had probably better athletic skills than me. And then I have a sister, and you might probably be getting to that later on, but I went to University of Kentucky, and it was just kind of funny because she came in after me. And so when she first came in, it was like Art Steele's little sister. I go back to Kentucky, I'm Valerie Steele's big brother, because she wound up breaking, she's all-time leading scorer and rebounder in the history for the men and the women. So I guess I got to live in her shadow right now.
Yeah, so when you were playing football, did you get to play any other positions before settling on defensive end? And obviously now these days, coaches like to play players on multiple positions, but did you get to play any other positions?
Well, no, it's just kind of funny because things have changed drastically and all too, because back then you played all, I played defensive end. I was a linebacker and I was a tight end. So I played, and then I even did some kicking off and some of those things. And some of the guys too, I don't know if you brought up some of the names, some of the guys I played with, Derek Ramsey was one of the guys I played with. He wound up same deal with him, of having the opportunity of, we went to Kentucky together. Oh, wow. He got drafted by the Raiders. I got drafted by the Chiefs. We played against each other and all. And to this day, good friends and all too. And then we had other ball players. There's another guy, Darrell Lee, man. He was the most talented player that I played with, especially at his age and all too, because he played basketball and football and all. And he had the opportunity too. He went to university, he went down to Grambling and all, but just only 1 year and all, and just came back in town. But I played around a bunch of talented guys in high school that kind of pushed, and that's just, you come from an environment where only way you can get out of town is, you got to get a scholarship, maybe go to another from school out of town and all. So that was a big incentive for me and a lot of the fellas to get out of town and try to make something of ourselves. Not saying anything was wrong with Camden per se as the city, but just the environment at that particular time wasn't, there was a lot of negative things. But again, you take an environment like that, all the things I've learned and picked up from teachers, my parents, my neighbors and all too, been positive. I think those are the things that kind of got me where I'm at right now.
Yeah. So what was it? So what was the recruiting process for you like back in the day? And how many offers did you get coming out of high school? And what made you choose Kentucky?
Well, being that I'm a rocket scientist, no, I ain't need no football scholarship. I was looking for a good medical school.
Yeah.
Sell drugs. No, man, baby. Don't be saying that stuff. Legal pharmaceutical drugs. No, I'm just joking. No, I had a number of schools and all too. And I always wanted to go to a Big Ten school. And so I went up and I always tell people the story because you never know who you run into. Just so I got recruited up University of Minnesota. And Tony Dungy was a senior that year. He took me around. I mean, he's a renowned, not only player, but coach and always been good people as far as those within the community, family-wise and all too. And then I also got recruited. One of the schools I looked was Michigan and Michigan State. And then somehow or another, came down to University of Kentucky, which I never really visited. But my high school coach, he brought up a good point and all too, which made a lot of sense. Like I said, a lot of things positive things in my life, some positive people that have pushed me in the right direction. And there was another person that had, we're talking about the recruiting. I'll bring up, if we get a chance later on, just, mention the word Steve Coach and all.
Okay.
Because he was very, influential.
Yeah, I'll make sure that we'll get to your sister and Steve Coach later on into the show. So,
sister?
Yeah,
I ain't saying nothing about her, man. Keep her out of the show. No, I'm just joking. No, just joking. But what I was saying was Coach Henson, Andy Henson, we had a great staff of coaches and all too in the high school where they pushed you, but we enjoyed ourselves. And it was a good push and all too. And Coach Henson, man, pulled me aside and we was talking about schools and all. And then he mentioned about Kentucky and all. He said, you think about it, most schools like the schools you're talking about going to, they got a name and a legacy as far as players and all too. They win in football and they do those types of things. But, Kentucky, the point that he brought up was Kentucky, known as a basketball school. He said, there's an opportunity coming in as a freshman, starting, and maybe, creating or making a name for yourself, so to speak. And everything, man, that he said panned out that way for me and all. So I went in Kentucky, I had the opportunity to start, played with some great ball players and all too. And I came in, and I'll bring up another name too, Rick Fromm. Rick Fromm went to Biscuits, and we played against each other, man. It was like a rivalry school, inner city, this parochial school, man, got all this money and different shade of folks. And then, at that time, it was all that racial stuff going on too, but it was competitive as far as sports wise, because they were top of the line and the same thing. And so when we competed, it was, some pretty good battles and all, but it's just kind of funny because, you know how that is when you're in high school and you play against teams, it's almost like a hatred, so to speak, in a positive way. Well, some people take it to the extreme where they go to the point of fighting. It was just more so, it was that team is keeping us where we want to go. But and as I brought out, in that situation, Rick Fromm played there and we played against each other, and Rick was a little older than me. So then all of a sudden, you know, it's like a reality check, because what you find out, like with sports and all, what happens is you become a family. It's not, oh, that's my teammate. You're family. You look out for one another. So when I went to Kentucky and all, now all of a sudden we're on the same team, you know. And Rick is taking me under his wing, because I think he was either a junior or so. Took me on his wing and all too. And then I can remember like holiday times when we was out of school, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. Rick had this Green Nova, and we drive back and forth. He dropped me off in Camden, go back home. He lived in Cherry Hill or Pensacola, whatever. He dropped me off in Camden, and then that was a good experience, man, because it just helped me appreciate it's not about what shade of color or part of town you're from, but it's that bond that you have and all too. So
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
So what was your experience like playing at Kentucky and in front of those fans? What was the atmosphere like for you guys there in Kentucky?
I was you know, the thing I enjoyed the most too, because you know, you hear a lot of things when I come, you know, going to Kentucky down in the South. That's like, you know, in the classes I went to, like I said, I was always taught that just different shades of people. It's not black, white, or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, it was when you go into class, and when I went to Camden, it was, you know, mainly blacks and Puerto Ricans and all. So I mean, it was just, that's how. But going to Kentucky, it was the complete opposite. You might be in a class, maybe 100 so people, and you know, the ratio was much different and all. But not only in class and you know, football and all, but the thing that I appreciate, you know, especially going to Kentucky and all, it boils down to how you treat others, how you respect others. So when I went down there, because a lot of folks was asking me when I come back to Camden and all, man, how's it down there in the South and all? I said, there's no issues and all, which there was. But then when you're in sports, they kind of shield you somewhat. But as a whole and all, you know, you learn how to start, you know, going down there, you don't look at people's shade of skin or whatever. You look at them as a person and all, and vice versa. When you got those types of relationships, those are lifelong relationships and all. And that's what I developed. As a whole and all, the best experience I could have. Unless I went to University of Hawaii and I was hanging out on the beach, you know, the hooligan.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it was an excellent experience. And then if you throw out the thing too, because a lot of people ask too, not only with the school, you know, they asked me where, you know, what game or whatever stands out in your mind, your Kentucky, man. And I always bring it. It wasn't exactly a play or anything. We was playing back in 1977. We was playing the University of Georgia down in Athens. And so, you know, just so happened, I just seen him on the news the other day. Prince Charles was on there. He was at the game. Prince Charles, this before he was married and all too. Wow. So we're out on the game, you know, so at halftime, Coach Kersey was, you know, our head coach, Fran Kersey, excellent coach and all too. And then Coach Dooley, and then I think it was Robertson or another ball player came along, quarterback. And we had the opportunity of meeting Prince Charles in the middle of the field at halftime. And the thing that stands in my mind about not only having the opportunity of meeting them, but at the same time, you know, you always got the fraternity guys, and you always got the boys, man. They got their sayings and their quotes and all. Yeah. So as we was walking out in the middle of the field to meet Prince Charles, they dropped a big old white, you know, right across the tracks and all. They wasn't at the stadium, but you can see it. They dropped the big old sheet down, and it says, you know, because they're the Bulldogs, they're the dogs. Yeah. So the thing is, they said they had on there, Prince Charles does it doggy style. I mean, you know, there's a couple ways you can do it because they're the Bulldogs. It's just a play on words, man. But you know, you can. But nowadays, you know, to be politically correct and all, man. Maybe that wasn't the correct term. Maybe plays doggy style. Oh, no, I'm just joking. But I mean, but those. And then, like I said, you know, playing with. I played with some guys, man. That when I know you probably talked to fellas and all too that played the game and all, and they talk about that bond, the guys that you played with. It's a lifelong bond and all too.
So that's pretty funny. That was in the stands that happened.
Huh?
That the play on words thing was it was in the stands.
Oh yeah, no, it was up. You know what happened is, and you talk to anybody who went to Georgia or folks from Georgia and all, see, they got the, you got the field and all, but then across from the field is like railroad tracks or something up high. And that's where it happened. It didn't happen in the field, but it happened. I could see it, man. I seen the thing.
Yeah.
And Hooked on Phonics worked for me that day. I could read that day. I was like, wow. And I almost seen a light, man. So I ain't going to the light. But I'll read that, but I'm not going to the light. I still got a couple more weeks left in my life.
Oh, yeah. So I want to get to your draft experience. You got drafted in 1978, round 1, pick 2. What was that like, getting drafted by a great organization in Kansas City and waiting with your family to get your name called? And finally, what was the feeling like once you got your name?
Well, hey, nothing, man. You going back? We back, man. When they was still, man, fire was just invented back.
Yeah,
man. So you was talking about the family being a family. Back then, they didn't have all that. The thing is, the teams, and this is what happened. The Chiefs, I flew in the night before the game and all. I mean, not the game, night before the draft and all. So they had the second pair, so they was gonna pick me. So yeah. I was already in town. I was in a hotel right across from the stadium. And that's how they did it back in the day. You didn't have no combine or anything like that. So they didn't have a big announcement. They might have announcement, wasn't like on TV in New York and all those kind of things and this and that. They just, by via phone back, we gonna pick, Art Steele, whatever and all. And so that's how I knew about Kansas City. That was the first year that Marv Levy, Coach Marv Levy, man, took over the Chiefs at that time. So again, I always look at it like this, you got to have some athletic ability and all. I had some athletic ability. But I think timing and all makes a world of difference. Not only time, but I'm also thinking in terms of guys that you play with. Sometimes, people, you can't, it wasn't about outshadowing the guys, because them guys I played with, Jerry Blanton and Mike Martin, and, on the defense and all them guys, man, kind of, where everybody worked together. And it's just so happened I was at the right place at the right time when the draft happened, and that's where it happened. First Houston called me at first and say, "Hey, I want you to be number 1." I said, "Nah, why don't you let Earl go first, and I'll come behind Earl, man." Hey, everything in Texas is big, so I said, "You gonna take Earl, and then let me go with the Chiefs and all, and just instead of calling me a chief, call me a chef." Take the I out of the word. No, but I mean that's what happened. I'm pretty fortunate, but then again, you put yourself in a position and all things sometimes happen.
So now going into the Kansas City, what was it like? Obviously, they have great fans there, and what was it like being on that team? You guys had a lot of great talented players, and what was the experience like playing in Kansas City for you?
Well, I can give you experience too. I mean, I can because back in the day, my brothers were always Chiefs fans. I was always Raiders. They had Marv Hubbard and all them guys, Otis Sistrom, Ben Davidson. That was my team. LaMonica. Is it LaMonica? I'm messing up. But all them guys, my brothers was Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
Buck Buchanan, Lenny Dawson, Otis Taylor, and Bobby Bell, Jan Stenerud. And it was just, coincidental how things worked out. But then again, when I was at Kentucky and all, one of the first players, because how they tested you was they had like the teams, like at that time, Buck Buchanan and Hank Stram, Coach Stram, they were coaching the Saints and all down New Orleans. So Buck was the first person that came up and worked me out. And Buck, we're about the same height and all. And I always had the most admiration for Buck, the Chiefs, and all. They always had them big boys anyhow. And so Buck, you're talking about the nicest guy in the world. And he had to do some running and all. That's how they did it back then. You go to the combine, they send their guys in and put you through some tests and all. But he wound up after the time, he's leaving and all. He gave up to me, I still remember. He gave me his pair of Puma, shoes, his New Orleans Saints sweatpants and shirt. And that was like an honor, man, coming from Buck. And then I get drafted by the Chiefs. Buck's back in town, so I see Buck until he passed away. But he was a great influence, on me. Not only, talking about playing the game, but more so off the field. He did a lot of things in community, family, and all that kind of stuff. So, and there's a lot of guys, Bobby Bell and all them guys, Jan. You just go through the line and all, man, that set good examples for players like myself coming in after.
So I want to ask you, was it, obviously you played for the Bills too, but for you, did you ever think that you could have spent your whole career with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah. That was, that's what I thought, and things changing of the guard, so to speak. Coach Levy was let go after 4 or 5 years. Then they brought in, they brought in John Malkovich. And in that particular period of time, up until we never went to the playoffs or anything. Mm-hmm. We had a good team, good defense and good offense and all, but never could really put it all together and all. And so we finally, and that's what kind of tells me and stuff, because organizations work differently and all. Yeah. And a lot of times, man, you can have the right coaches, but if you don't have the right front office, it can be, or vice versa. But when things gel from both sides, that's when you have them, just like the Chiefs in our last few years, everything is gelling within the organization and all. You don't have any disconnects here and there. And see, when I was playing, we had a deal, I got traded up to Buffalo my 10th year, after my 10th year and all. Yeah. And it was just, a lot of times it's, I wouldn't say politics and all, but it's just one of those deals. You get certain jumper. So when we had Coach Gans came in, and so that's when I got traded up to Buffalo, which worked out pretty nice because I started off with Coach Levy, I finished off with Coach Levy, and when we went up to Buffalo. In my 10 years with the Chiefs, we only went to playoffs one time up in Buffalo. Those 2 years, I think we played in at least 5, and then we played in the AFC Championship game and all too. But again, everything kind of congealed, coming up there playing with the fellas and you playing the guys like Cornelius Bennett, same thing with Bruce Smith, Shane. I mean, you can just go Fred Smerlis and all them guys, man. It was a good time and all.
Yeah, so obviously going to playing in Buffalo, you played with Jim Kelly, obviously a great quarterback, and you guys are really a great Andre Reed too. You played.
Oh yeah. And Andre's from around that way.
Oh too. Wow.
Yeah, so it was like you said, even though when I came in, and I don't know, like Fred, and I don't know if I was, so I was, because I was 10 years playing defensive line. Yeah. It takes a toll on your body and all too. And I went up there, I was hurting pretty much so, because of the shoulder and all. And that was the same thing. You look back now, things have changed because I can remember when I was playing with the Chiefs, and maybe it was the year, I remember I got cut one time. We was playing Seattle or something, got cut. And I couldn't brace my shoulders, so I came right down on it. And at that time, man, you never let people know you're injured. Yeah. You gotta know how to play with it because the thing is just like anything else. We're already paranoid coming in because if something happens, somebody come and do a little bit better than you, replace you. Next thing you know, you're gone. So you make the adjustments as you go along and all too, and that's just part of the process. I think it's much different now and all. There's more protection for players and all if you get hurt and all than there is back in the day and all. And that was called job security. So when I went up to Buffalo, I was playing with messed up shoulder and all too. But the guys, again, it's not the individuals, the guys you play with that either they're going to excel your game or excel to, play together as a team. And I think that's what happened. I just played with a bunch of great ball players and that's how I finished out.
Yeah, so as a defense, looking at the offense with Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas too, a legendary running back. How easy was it for you guys just as a defense, saying in your head that all you have to do is get 4 downs and give the ball back to the offense, because you guys had a great offense with Jim Kelly and those
But
receivers.
you guys, I mean, you forget the main source of that team and all.
Yeah.
Guy, Joe Devlin. We had, that offensive line, guy that I played against was Joe Devlin. And I played against Joe Devlin when I was in Kansas City. I used to hate playing against Joe Devlin because not only was he big and strong and smart, he was fast. And not only that, but usually when you're playing against the offensive lineman, usually they'll, for about 4 or 5, seconds now and then, you slow down or whatever. But old Joe, man, even if you're running away from the play downfield, he's right beside you. And I used to, and that was great ball player. And I think, with Joe Devlin, I think he never got the recognition that he should have got. But I had the utmost respect for that man. And then, like I said, the rest of the offensive line, them guys, that's, and Jim would tell you the same thing. Thurman would say the same thing. If it wasn't for them, the guys up in that front, you had the tight end Mesler and all them guys. That front line was, man, they drove people. And I think maybe that, helped me in my game too, because when you practice, well, I ain't practice that hard. In practice, man, you see that, and again, you kind of live off of that type of atmosphere and all too.
So now looking back at your career, how grateful are you to be in this position, to be able to play the game you love, play with great 2 teams and great teammates, great coaches and supporters along the way, and you had a 4-time Pro Bowl experience and over 40 sacks. And how grateful are you to be in this position right now?
Well, I thought you were gonna go the other way on me. How's it great to be part of the Medicare Association and have your AARP card, and then your first doctor appointment, they already got you set up for next year for colonoscopies and prostate checks every other month and keeping you flowing, so to speak. Now, so I thought you was gonna hit me at that one, but okay, we gotta go back to the other one. What was the question again? You said something.
Yeah. So how grateful are you to be in this position, to be able to play the game you love, play with 2 great teams, coaches, great teammates, and a 4-time Pro Bowl? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, and it was, I know they said 42, but see, that's what I'm saying. You're going back in the day, because at one time they wasn't counting sacks and all. So I had about maybe 78 or so, but including. But the thing is, as I keep saying, I'm pretty fortunate, but at the same time, I try to keep things in perspective. Even with my kids, I got 6 boys and 5 girls and all.
Oh, wow. And
so I try to keep things in perspective, because I always explain to people and all. Sometimes, and you hear about, ball players, some of these people, boy, they're, some of them so arrogant. And then some of the things that players do, they got all that money. Why get themselves, now they going to jail or whatever and all. And so, my mind is almost like this. There's a combination of things going on. Like I said, I was pretty fortunate, but you almost got to keep things in perspective, because it's just, for me, it was a means of making a living, taking care of my family. Yeah, you got a lot of recognition of the NFL and all too. So, you get the opportunity of doing things in the community, traveling. Those things usually for job, any other type of job, you usually stay in one spot, but you get the opportunity, and that was meet people. I got friends, and I don't even call them friends, family all over and all, that I've developed relationships from. And there's a lot of folks I didn't develop relationship starting off just with football, but that's the way I kind of look at it. Even now, you might run into somebody, even my age now, people maybe say, hey, because you played football, people are real nice and all, but a lot of the folks and all that I meet initially because of that NFL stuff, over a period of time, it's not because of what I did, it's because our relationship as, people treating and respecting one another and all too. So those are the things. And then I always keep in mind, because even sometimes I see ball players and they do some real stupid things and all, and you thinking, man, but now they're finding out, and I'm not making any excuses. I got friends and all play ball and all, things happen in their lives, negative, happens in all of our lives, maybe more exposure to the public or anything else to some. But the thing is, when you wind up there finding out all that contact sports, you know, that head trauma and like I said, I'm not making any excuses because I didn't have my share of concussions and all too. But for some, you know, there's issues and problems that needs to be addressed and all. And I think they're trying to address them now, but a lot of stuff, man, you bang that head, you might be doing some stupid stuff. And like I said, I'm not, you know, blaming anybody. But the thing is, that's just part of the game. And then you take in consideration when people take a person that say playing the NFL, star person, whatever, and sometimes people prop them up to be, you know, in a position where instead of, you know, looking at it, okay, you know, this is my means of making a living. Hey, I'm not, you know, if you go to a school, and I remember talking to kids and all, you know, who can help you school-wise? I mean, is a teacher more important than an NFL ball player? And again, you keep things in perspective. But the thing is, if you want to get education, if you want to learn how to knock somebody down and all, okay, come see me. But if you want to get an education, do something with your life and all too, not saying that you know, the odds are as far as playing the NFL is real stringent and all too. But the thing is, a mechanic, your car break down, you'll come to me. The only thing I'm gonna show you how to do is kick the tire off or something like that. But the thing is, everybody has a role within our society, within our family structure and all too. And I think sometimes we lack recognizing the guy, and I'll give you an example too. When I was growing up in the projects in Canada, I was going to school and I was running a little late, and I think it was a couple other, we was running late at school. Old trash man. He told us, you guys need to go to school and get an education. And I remember education. Even though, you know, that sticks in my mind because what he was saying was the truth. Right. Not saying that being a trash man is like this. You know, that's everybody's got a special role. And so the thing is, positions people do for a living, all we never look down because people out there doing what the best they can to take care of their family and all. Just like, you know, what I was doing is just, it's kind of, you know, it's ironic and all because you go to places and you got money to purchase a meal or something, and then the manager, hey, it's on us. And then you look over the table, you know, people saving up maybe months and months just to go out for a meal. And I remember one time I told her, I said, man, what you do? We can, you know, but then again, that didn't make any sense to me because, you know, I had the money to take care of things. I could use some money right now if you want to send me right quick. No, but I'm just saying, you know, then there's folks struggling, man, just to maybe once every blue moon, maybe take the wife or something out. Those are the folks, man, need to be complimented out there working, struggling, and doing what they can.
Yeah, happy belated Father's Day, by the way.
What happened?
I know I said happy belated Father's Day. Yesterday was.
Oh, no. You know, the thing is, I go back to my mother again. A lot of stuff I learned. Mother's Day, Father's Day. Is there a Children's Day?
No.
Okay. So, hey, the thing is, you put that all together, that should be done every day.
Yeah.
You know, every day is a special day and all too. So it should be Happy Person Day today.
Yeah.
And that should be every day. You know, I usually on the end of my email, and I heard this before. They said, everyone we meet is facing issues we know nothing about. Be kind. And that's so true because, you know, people might think we all have this. You probably don't have an issue, do you?
Who? You
don't have an issue, do you?
Who is?
Who is? You got a who is? No. Oh. No, I'm saying everybody has issues, problems.
No.
I'm saying it might be on a different level, so to speak, but that's where we still respect one another. Yeah. And I recognize your issues, man. You got blinking eyes, man. You know how many concussions you had? No, I'm just joking. Keep spinning around like this, man, on me. I mean, that's a sign of, you know, back injuries, man, and all. Too. And then you squirm in your seat. You got hemorrhoids too, don't you? Hey, I ain't gonna charge you. Hey, the Dr. Phil, Dr. Steele, I'm giving you some consultation, man, and some rehab right here.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give young athletes and young kids that are trying to get to their goals?
Well, I always tell, especially young ones, well, not even older, younger ones. First thing I always ask, I say, who's, because usually from a family environment. And it's much different than we was growing up. Back in the day, you had a mother and father. Things have changed now. But even, I always tell it, young ones, especially young fellas, I said, you know, and I said, you got a father or mother or whatever, who's the most important person that family's a structure? Even though everybody's important in order to make things work. And most of the times, the young ones will recognize the mother. And I always, even with me, having 11 kids and all, what I recognize is that bond that my kids, they in their womb, in their mother's womb for 9 months. That's a special bond. And so that's not a bond. So when them kids come out, it's automatically they got that bond with their mother. And that is important because, thing that, I was taught and learned that a mother can teach a boy how to be a man.
Yeah.
But then again, nowadays, everything is politically correct. Those terminology already change pretty soon, as far as, growing up to be a man, because then, you might be, then I'm here, but I ain't gonna hit on that thing. But the thing is, I always say, like, with a mother-in-law, it's important for her to, have some type of structure with her, especially the boys and all too, because that's how boys learn how to use women. I mean, they start off maybe with their mom. That's why a strong mother, man, gotta, teach them be respectful and all too. And like I said before, you hear times have changed, and it's kind of, as far as gender and that kind of stuff, man. But maybe I'm just, I'm a senior citizen, man. That's what I'm a dinosaur, man. Shucks. I'm still thinking about them inventing fire last week, man. I said, man, I ain't know you can make fire nowadays, So
Yeah, so I wanna go back from earlier about your sister and your coach Steve. So what was it like?
Steve, yeah.
Yeah, so what was it like having them, and obviously a lot of support throughout your career, and especially your sister going to Kentucky too. So what was it like to have a sibling going to the same college and having a coach that stood by you the whole time?
Well, when I said Steve Coach, that's his that's his last name, Steve Coach.
Oh, see.
But he was my 4th or 5th grade teacher. And that bond, and again, he's from the suburbs. He's a lighter shade of folks and all. I mean, I'm just using those terms. And we lived in the pride. He used to pick me up, even through my years, pick me up, take me out and play basketball, do things with me, and he was a mentor, a role model for me and all. And till this day, just like that's who I talked to first thing this morning. He's 78 years old, but you talking about good people and set a good example, man, of a role model. I mean, he's 78. He was young when I came to school there. I mean, when I was there, he's only about 12, 13 years older than me. So he was young too, but he took me under his wing, and that's my brother from another mother and all. So, and like I said before, sports, he understood that, I like sports, but he used that as a means to show me other things, teach me other things. And like I said, he was my 4th grade or 5th grade teacher and all too. So he made an impression on me big time. Now, in reference to my sister, I had some other brothers. I had another brother, my brother James, we call him Sparky. He got a scholarship from Kentucky. He went to the University of Maryland and all. And so he had the opportunity of playing. That was back in the late 60s and all too. And then from there, I had the opportunity. I had another brother play at Bethune and all too. But like I said, I went to Kentucky in 78. My sister came in, I think, came to Kentucky in 74. So my sister came in right after me, 79 or something like that. And she did. She said, and then I had even before her, I have another brother, Dennis.
Okay.
He played, and as far as athletic ability, football and basketball, he played. He just didn't. And that's what I'm saying. It's got to be a complete package when you're doing things, because he didn't like school. So he enjoyed playing the game, and that's what happened. You almost got it's a give, is more a give and take, and all, so to speak. If you want to go to and he did. He played overseas. He played over in France. He played Argentina. He played about 20 years in professional basketball around Philippines and all too. And he had all the ability in the world too. So there, and there was a lot of competition. We played. We kind of, and then as my sister came along, she used to tail along with us, and we used to jam up on her all the time and stuff. Especially we teach, boner, man, and all when you're playing basketball. So she took it on her own, man, and went to Kentucky and all, and set a precedent for herself and all. And I get things from some of the ball players they might at Kentucky, or Coach Hall, Joe B. Hall. He was the head coach when they won the NCAA and all, with Jack Givens and all them guys, James Lee and Rick Roby and all them guys. And it was just kind of funny. He was the one, when I come back to Kentucky and all, I remember the first time coming back, after my sister left, instead of calling me Art, he said, "Aren't you Valerie Stills' brother?" That's where that all started from. The head coach of University of Kentucky and all too. So I live with that. My sister is Valerie Still. I'm her brother. That's my title now.
So we do this fun little segment now on the show. It's called the rapid fire segment. You ready for this?
Anytime you ready to rapid fire me, man, I'll pop some caps on. No, but not.
Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
What was that? Say that again.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
Okay, I'm trying to figure this game out now, man. I'm a senior citizen. I didn't get my Geritol yet, man, without the iron, man. So I'm not So you said what?
I will skip that one. Favorite. Yes. What was your most memorable game that you played in the NFL and college?
I tell you what. There's another true story too. When I was growing up back in school, my number was 83 in high school. I still got my high school jacket. My name, Mad Stork, was on there. You probably remember the Mad Stork, do you? That's going back in your day. Do you remember a guy by the name of Ted Hendricks?
No.
Now, Ted, he's a Hall of Famer and all. Played for the Raiders. Played, I think, for Baltimore. And he played for the Raiders and all. So he's with the Raiders now when I was in high school. And they used to actually call me Mad Stork. That was his nickname, Mad Stork, 83. And that's what they call me. Even to this day, they still call me either Mad, some of the friends call me Bird, because of Mad Stork and all. I didn't know that was a bird. I thought it was just a Mad Stork. But the time that kind of stands out in my mind, I remember we was playing, I had the opportunity to talk about the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
So little Mad Stork, I'm down in my down stands like this, in the Pro Bowl, and big Mad Stork, Ted Hendricks, is we playing side by side in the Pro Bowl together. Wow. So that was one of those kind of moments you think, you dream, you see about, and then next thing you're playing against somebody, man. And every time I see old Ted, man, I always remind, I said, man, I still got my jacket, 83, Mad Stork, and he just kind of chuckles all the time.
Wow. How about your most memorable game in college in Kentucky?
Kentucky, Penn State.
Okay.
Penn State, we played my 2 years, my senior and junior and senior year, because Penn State was always a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And you look back, the only games they lost, I think they lost one game each of them years, if I'm not mistaken. And both of them was to Kentucky. And then, we played them up at State Park. Is that this? So we beat them in their own stadium and all too. So I mean, that was kind of, that kind of stood out because we all played. It was a little muddy game and all, but had a good time. But we came out and won the game. And back then Penn State was the power. I mean, that was a team. If you beat Penn State, you was up that line, so to speak.
Yeah. So, do you who's your Which NFL defensive lineman do you like to watch right now currently in the game?
Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith.
Yeah. Is Bruce still playing?
No.
I got you like this. Bruce Smith. Hey, you know the funny thing is because I'm bad. I'm telling you, I'm pretty bad on names and all too. Right. But I remember when I went back up, I lived up in Buffalo for a little bit. So at that time, you know, I got interviewed by the radio station. And that was asking me the top 3 NFL players, you know, defensive line player. So Bruce was playing at that time too. So that was real easy.
Yeah.
And then there was same thing with White, Green Bay.
Oh,
Reggie White.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to figure out another one. So I'm sitting there kind of stuck, man, because I'm bad on names. I said, there's another player, I think his name is Art Still. That was my out. Oh. But I'm bad on names and all time. Well, you look at the Chiefs in there, you know, especially, you know, with their defensive line and all, especially last year, man, too. But it's one of those things, man. You got an offense like that, man. You got to have because, you know, because them guys can hit, they can score fast and all. So you got to have a good defense, man, because if it's vice versa and all, you just going back and forth. And so, and then I think sometimes what happens is when you got a striking offense like the Chiefs and all too, sometimes even though you might subconsciously you think, man, hey, and you see games nowadays, people, you know, especially first half, Chiefs might be losing. People I'm not worried about it. You know, they're going to come back and beat them. But that don't always work. So the thing is, that's why, you know, and I don't know, subconsciously, you know, as playing on defense, whatever, I don't know if you can get into that mode and all too, where you kind of not slacking, but you figure, hey, man, we got Mahomes and we got all these players, man, you know, on offense. So hopefully, you know, things going to change around somewhat. Instead of just coming in second place in the Super Bowl, we're going to probably come back on the top.
So if the right opportunity comes for you, would you consider being a coach in college or NFL?
I'm already a coach, man. I get myself up in the morning, I run, man. I say, hey, this is what I want you to do today. No shoplifting, but you can go buy yourself a candy bar. No. I look at it, if I was coaching all too, I'd probably, and that's what, I'd be sitting around. Our team might be losing and all, but be sitting on the sideline just laughing up a storm and all too. So, hey, if you hear any barking, that's my stomach. No, I'm just joking. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
No, but I'm telling you, one of the most important jobs nowadays, because people are onto the sports and all, is coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, you know, college and pros, that's a little different from young boys. And that's where, man, you know, I don't know if it's regulated as much, but you get sometimes you get, you know, coaches that may be trying to relive their lives through the little guys. And the little guys, you got to keep things in perspective. Let them enjoy the game, but, you know, you got to teach them some structure. But sometimes, man, you might go from one extreme to the other and all, too. So, but I always say, man, I had coaches, and they taught you respect. You know, you knew how, even though we had coaches that smoke and all that kind of thing, a lot of stuff, but they taught you how to be respectful. And then they never killed us or anything, but if you cross the line, there was consequences for it. And I think, you know, what happens is those consequences, man, make you a better person if you stick with it. Some people, man, a coach don't like me and they take off. But if you stick with it, you know, there's things you start resilient. I mean, you learn a lot of things. And then just like with your parents, like my mother was, and I joke about this, you know, because they talk about, and I'm just throwing this out, you know, they talk about not being, non-binary and all. I always tell people, I think my mom back in the day, back in the 50s, she was the first non-binary, because my mother, she was a woman, man, but it was 5 of us boys and 4 of us close age. And man, when she had that look on her face, man, it was like she was a raw dog. She beat it like a man.
Wow.
I mean, but the thing is, and I kind of understood. A lot of people look at maybe I ain't look at it as abuse. My mom, a lot of times, she was on point. Maybe because she had this, when you got boys and you're the only one raising them boys. I got a father, but you got to set an example. If not, and so in the long run, she was the key as far as where I'm at today too, because she taught the respect, how to treat women, how to treat others. Doesn't matter what shade of color, you treat that person just like you want to be treated. And those are the things that are inbred, in me. And I try to pass it on to those around me. When I say family, anybody, I pass it on the importance of, even though where we live in a world right now where there's a lot of injustice and a lot of crap going on, man, if you respect, it's just about a matter of respect. It's not what part of town you're from. And I find out most of the time when you approach things like that, man, I usually have good relationships. And I always tell people, we live in a world now, doesn't matter what part of town. You just like living in the projects, it might have been all blacks. But then again, you can always have prejudice. Right. People can be prejudging people, because then, I was a lighter shade, then you got the darker shade, high yellow. You just, if you wore glasses or if you was overweight or you short and tall, people discriminate, man, all the time. But and so the thing is, that's what I'm saying. And when you break it down, just like people ask, how you get so tall and so big? I didn't create my height. I do work out, keep myself in shape and all too. But the form and the basics and all the foundation comes from whoever womb you come out of. That's what you got to think. What part of town? If you born over in Iraq, child, man, don't have a choice or if you're born in Camden, New Jersey or Cherry Hill, New Jersey or whatever, you don't, so that doesn't make you any special than anybody else. Now you got to find what you got and it's just a matter of treating people. It's not, God made me or somebody, I'm this special person, I'm the golden child. I'm not the golden child, but I do gotta go to the bathroom. No, I'm a senior citizen. No, that's right. I better get the cup out of her, man. I'm not drinking either, man, on this one.
Yeah, so the last few things here before I go, our team is part of this foundation called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach.
Oh yeah, I remember Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, he's now the offensive coordinator at Tennessee State with Eddie George. Eddie George.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's
Eddie George coaching too.
Yeah, he's at Tennessee State now. He's the head coach, and Hugh Jackson. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, so they probably going at it with old Deion, huh?
The HBCU schools and Deion Sanders now. It's amazing, and so I'll send you the foundation.
State.
Yeah, I'll send you the foundation, the Hugh Jackson Foundation. We're trying to help him prevent human trafficking and making sure the community.
Oh no, hey, if there's any, I'm telling you. Anything, man, to make this place a better place and all, to a positive world and all. Yeah, hey, I'm in, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then, I got to check with my caretaker too, because I might get an extra case of Depends and all, just in case I might have an accident.
Oh, and the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers right now?
Oh yeah. Hey, you guys, when you give me that colonoscopy, can you just be a little bit easier on me, man? Because I'm flowing too much right now. No, no. Well, the thing, it all reverts back to what we're talking about. We all, within the family structure, within the school system, within our community and all, we all have a role. Yeah. And the thing is, it doesn't matter, what the role is. And again, very appreciative, especially, we had the issues, we still have the issues now, and there's still gonna be more issues. But the thing is, we as individuals and all too, and like I said, the doctors and the nurses first, I got 3 kids, a firefighter and all too, first responders and those types of things, law enforcement or whatever and all. We gotta give them something too in regards to maybe we can wind up, maybe change the way, you see all these commercials on TV. I seen the one, man, I kind of chuckle, man. oh, we're gonna send you a piece of cardboard and just wipe with it and send it back, and we tell you got colon problems. I'm like, I'm not into that kind of stuff. But the thing is, one of the things that you don't hear is more so encouraging folks, change your lifestyle, change how you eat, change how you like your neighbors, know your neighbors, help your neighbors, do things within your neighbor, do things when you, if you see a guy on the corner, man, and like the thing is, and again, I'm speaking for myself, back in the day, growing up in Camden and all, we had guys hanging out on the corners. Usually we call them winos. Hey, give me a quarter, man. They want to buy a pint of Thunderbird or some MD 2020 or whatever. And we told them, hey, if you do that, I'll give me a swig too. No, I'm just joking. But the thing is, and now you see people on I'm talking about corners, no matter where you go, and it's not a certain age group. You see older ones, you see vets and all, man, that come back and don't have a place, homeless and all. You see young girls, young people. And the thing is, and that's where we got to wind up, man, instead of, man, just looking out, I used to think that, get a job at McDonald's. But again, easier said than done, because a lot of times, if all the depression, anxiety going on, you can get, when you get off on your own, man, that mind has a tendency to keep you over there too. Right. And so that's where, even when we're on the corner, hey, when we pulling up, and I always, even my wife would tell you, I see somebody on the corner, I ain't prejudging nobody. Mm-hmm. If I got some bucks, man, I always say, man, hey, I hope, ask them how they doing, blah, blah, blah. But those just, or even you don't have no money, man, just, hey, hello, man, I hope, I hope everything work out for you, whatever. But the thing is, just a simple smile and all. And there don't have to be nobody on the corner. It can be your neighbor. Or you're at school. Treating people, man, the way you want to be treated. But then again, you got to define that, because a lot of folks, man, want to be treated. Hey, I'm the man. Yeah. Instead of looking big, thinking of others than themselves and all. So
yeah. Well,
I don't know. I made all these questions. I made all these answers up. I hope they work.
That was awesome. Yeah, well said. And there it is. That wraps up episode 827 with former NFL defensive end Art Steele. He played for the Bills and the Chiefs. He went to Kentucky from Camden, New Jersey, so 4-time Pro Bowl. Thank you again for joining the show. It's truly an honor, and we would like to have you back as a returning guest so at some point so you can meet the full team. But keep up the great work, and you and your family stay safe.
Okay, let me ask you something. What would that make?